This quick start guide will give you an insight into onboarding with enough information to get your users onboarded and using the Start platform. Firstly, you will need an account, which is not only set up as staff, but has the extended privileges of being able to manage the users at your school, academy, or college. At the end of the video, we'll cover how to get in touch with us about that, and we'll set it up for you. The other thing you'll need is the template. It's a CSV file, but when you open it, your computer will likely open it in your default spreadsheet program, such as Excel, and show it like this. Clearly, this file is empty, and you'll either need to populate it or ask your IT team to export something in this format from your MIS system, for example, Sims. When you're done, you'll save it away as a CSV file. That's a plain text file with comma separated values, and we'll feed that into our onboarding tool. The file you create doesn't have to have these columns in this order, but it does need to include these columns. So do make sure you have each of these columns with the upper and lower case that you see in these titles. Most of the columns are self-explanatory, and only some of them are mandatory, only those that help you differentiate users from each other. Here's a quick populated example to help us to give you a few tips, and we'll start a few columns in and cover the first few at the end. Mandatory columns include the forename and surname, the date of birth, and the gender. The gender is a single character, so M for male, F for female, but you could also supply O for other, or N for not given, when you'd prefer not to supply it. Be careful your spreadsheet software doesn't turn the date into a 2-digit year. We need it to be exported as 4 digits. Email and postcode are optional, but we strongly recommend that you do populate them. The email will enable users to use the forgot password functionality later on, and the postcode will localize some of the content on the platform to the user, such as lists of local opportunities, courses, or employers. It's okay to use the school postcode if there's a reason why you'd prefer not to populate it with the user's home postcode. For learners at schools and academies, the numeric year group goes in this column. There are shortcodes for college levels, which you can find in the help guide. UPN is optional, but highly recommended if you can, because it will enable you to later integrate with the likes of Compass Plus in due course. The final 2 columns can be populated later, but they must exist in the CSV file that you submit, even if the column's blank. The role column will default to learner, but you can put the word staff in here if you have a member of staff, and as you'll read in the user guide later, you can also provide elevated privileges for reporting and other tasks here too. The student groups column allows you to enter one or more groups that you'd later like to report on or filter on, such as form groups, SEN and other flags. You can choose to leave this blank for now if you like and submit a version later on with this populated, if you prefer just to get the users up and running for now. If you populate it, you should separate different groups with a line break. So let's move back to those initial columns, and talking of staff, there is another optional column here which is only relevant if you're adding members of your team, so that users see, say, Mr. Brown instead of Harry Brown when the teacher's name surfaces on the product, such as in the interaction section. You'll need to choose a username that's unique across our platform. You can structure this how you like, but note that you may not be able to use your network username if it's already been taken by somebody else. So a good tip is to copy the email column and use that as the username. That way we can guarantee it's unique. Watch out for spaces or apostrophes, which are not allowed in usernames, but otherwise you can use alphanumeric characters, underscores, hyphens, the plus and the @ symbol. For password, you can assign them. Perhaps your IT department will export a file with this populated, but if not, you can do one or 2 things. You can populate it with something known, such as the user's email. We could copy this. And you could advise the users to use forgot password to change it to something else, such as their network password when they first log in. Alternatively, you could leave this blank and the system will assign a random numerical password to them, and you can get those in a downloadable list at the end of the process if you prefer. You'll also need a unique identifier. And this is how you'll refer to this student in any future submissions where you might use the platform to change some of this data. It's a form of additional validation, the UPN. That'll be a good unique identifier that you can guarantee to be unique and shouldn't change over the user's time with the school. But you could alternatively use the email address here too. And finally, there's a ULN field, which is optional if you'd like to populate that. So once we have our CSV file populated and we're ready to go, we'll scroll down here, follow the button to submit your file, and we'll be prompted to log in with the onboarder account that we've created for you. Click login and we'll be taken to this page. There are some options here for when you later come to resubmit data, which we won't need to worry about just now. You can read about those in the help guides. So for now, we really just need to tick the box to send a welcome email to learners, and if it's relevant, one to send the welcome email to staff if you've got them on the same CSV. We just need to point to the CSV file and upload it. If the platform does hit any validation errors, you'll see these highlighted before it allows you to proceed with very clear instructions on what to do about them. It could take a number of minutes to process the file depending on how many rows it contains and how busy the system is. At the end, you'll be able to refresh this page to see that it has completed, and we'll also send an email confirming it's done to the address that's associated with this account. And here you can download the results file, which will be your original CSV with some additional columns with some notes, such as if the system was generating a password for you because you left that column blank, or any other notes that it might need to draw to your attention. That should be everything you need to know to get users onboarded and using the Start platform. If you do need any further help and support, do please email us on support@uexplore.com. Use this email address to get in touch with us with the name or names of the members of staff who will be onboarding. We'll set up a special account with elevated privileges for those users and get back to you with next steps.